you will learn a lot about your customer, about that area. And as you do, you don't want to have to think about getting a 2-hour car ride or a 4-hour plane ride or whatever in order to get there just to make the guest happy, because you want to be able to create a positive experience. Because remember, if something like that happens, well, it's not just your travel time and experience, it's their experience that you are also shaping and creating. And remember, they're going to be leaving a review. I know for us, one of the first things that we often forgot were things like hair dryer and just figuring out how much toilet paper to put in the unit. Those things take time to understand and to get the rhythm of, so that you can make sure to be as efficient as possible. So keeping it close to home is really, really important. Now, I also know that some of you wish to own more real estate, which is great. But I also want to state that you don't have to buy the real estate in order to make this work. Now, a number of you already own real estate, and that's great, or you want to buy more real estate. That's also great. What I would say is continue to go ahead and buy your real estate, however you were planning on doing it before. That does not need to change. They're two completely separate things right now. However, if you're not in a position to buy, I don't want you to think that you have to buy. You can, what is known as master lease or sublease, a location and thereby control it. And what you're after is building the income, not necessarily the asset. If you want to own the real estate, by all means, do so. But it's not a requirement, which is one of the things that makes this a great strategy for beginners, because you can go out there without having to understand all of the extra details that come with owning real estate and doing that particular due diligence. And you can get started faster, ultimately serving the customer, your tenant. And that's what you're going to end up doing when you buy the building anyway. So you can get started faster. You can use more of your money straight into production of the service, as opposed to having a lot of it taken up by using it for down payments and repairs and other things that come along with buying real estate. With that being said, one of the key ways that you're going to find your short-term rentals is by contacting realtors, property managers, complex condo rental offices, HOAs, and of course, REITs or real estate investment trusts. Now, what I want to say right here is all of those are people. People like relationships. They're not a vending machine. You don't just call them and say, hey, I'd like a short-term rental, please. You are building a relationship, hopefully a long-term one. So in the same vein in which you would want to build a relationship with someone that you had an interest in, you would not, I repeat, would not approach them on day one and say, hey, let's get married. You might say, hey, let's go for coffee, right? And you need to approach this in a very similar manner. So first, we're going to talk about real estate investment trust